Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
Let's just take a quick look. I am doing a couple things on my chart, so I'm not going to bore you guys with that for now. CAD yen for the 30-minute. Let's go take a quick look, see if we got a potential setup there. So if you guys have been enjoying the revised version of AIRO, you can put a 111 in the chat. If you have had any troubles setting it up, then this is the place to ask the questions. We can certainly get you all set up and figured out. So we got CAD yen on the 30. So CAD yen on the 30. We just had some news on the Canadian dollar. So there's no bounce, guys. So you can't take this if there's no bounce on the 30, right? Just because there's an arrow and you're in a downtrend doesn't mean you're going to want to take this, because where's the, you see, there's no recent bounce. This is a second arrow. This is, I'm not a fan of taking the 30-minute trades. And the reason is I don't have a lot of patience for those. Now, there is an entry on the 15, right? See, you got bounce, arrow, go on the CAD yen on the 15. It seems like she's just out of the chute. Let's go check the 5. See if we got anything that we can clean up a bit. There's no green zones anywhere. And it just broke through that green zone here, so could be potential. I just find it's too far out. It's like we kind of missed that move, so let's go see. What do we got? Mark Charles. Absolutely, Danielle. I will. We'll go over that in a little bit, and I'll try to understand and find an answer for your question. So check the S&P 500 on the 1. Well, let's go see S&P 500 on the 1. We got shorts, right? So we're looking for short, right? You're not looking for longs generally. Oh, it's coming down, eh? Let me go see what TradingView has to say here. This might not. So I'm on day 2 here. I need all the help I can get. I have manual traded, but I'm new to EA trading. Okay, right on. Well, welcome. Welcome, Marcel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You're in the right spot. I do use TradingView for the vast majority of my write-ups. I use AIRO to give me the trade ideas. See if we can get a nice setup. See, there's no bounce here, so there's no bag entry on the 1. There's no scalp. There's nothing. Now, I took this buy this morning, and even though there was no bounce, I had other confirmations, so I was using it a little different way. There's no problem on that. Let's go see Euro GBP EG into the zone. You know, you got equal zones, not enough room into the zone. I'm not touching this one. Because what could happen is it could bounce out of here or it could turn around there. Let's see if we can get that here. Where is attendees? I'm looking for a little community here. See if we can find you a nice little setup this morning, guys. See, we don't need to be taking 100 trades a week, right? If you're learning the system, yes, take as many trades as you can, figure out what works for you and what doesn't. But you don't want to overtrade your live account. That could be a problem in itself. I'll tell you this though, the indices have been consistently profitable for myself. At this point, I'm taking about 80 to 90% of all my trades are on the indices. We had a gold alert. I don't know if that was a 1 or if it was a 5, but let's go see gold real quick. We got indices in gold will trade off the 5-minute. So you got a rejection on that zone. If it comes back deep enough, we might get a zone pop up and then an arrow, and then that could be a setup. But right now, there's nothing. I am hesitant to take a 1-minute trade on a live call because some people might enter late, and it's got to be pretty tight. Okay. Paresh, yes, I can kind of outline the steps how I'm trading the indices. Just understand that the indices, they move well, I'm just reading a couple questions here. All right. So the indices do move significantly faster than the Forex pair. So if you're starting out, stick to the Forex pairs. I will show you guys kind of what I'm doing with the indices and how how getting in and whatnot. So let's go look at pound Swiss. How about that? Pound Swiss just gave us an alert. We'll go see. I think it's this one. Aussie yen, pound Swiss. Pound Swiss, counter trend. I don't want it because you got green, green, green. You zoom out all the way. You look for the arrow down. If I get a bounce here on this zone, I'm taking that trade as a buy, but I'm not going short. Not going short. So if you see here, we're going to have a second red candle. This is not something I would be taking. The highest probability trades are when you have a bounce off of a green zone or a red zone, and then you take it in that direction. You see here, we have a bounce, arrow, and then we can take it up to that red zone. And here is the same story, bounce, arrow, and then down to the green zone. And you don't need to put 40 pip take profit or whatever. If you lower the risk in your trade by tightening your stop loss a little bit, you'll be able to increase the value or increase the lots in your trade. So for example, when it comes to this trade here, if I'm entering this trade, I'll tell you right now, my stop loss isn't 40 pips. It's on the other side of this zone. That's a good starting point. UK 100. Indices on the 15, that's a powerful thing. Give me just a second and I will check something out. Okay. All right, so the red ribbon inside my trading view charts is actually just two exponential moving averages that cross. It works really good. I've been using it for a couple of years. I learned it from a man by the name of Steve Greger. It's the 1362 exponential moving average. And it's just another layer of confirmation that I like to use. But let me more or less see if we can find something here. S&P 500. Because we're family, I'll share kind of what my setup is and what I've been using to trade the indices. And then I just don't want to make it, you know what? For the sake of this call, I don't want to overcomplicate anything. I want to really keep it as simple and basic as possible. So if you do want the settings and how I'm trading the indices, and just send me a message in Telegram. How about that? That way we can kind of keep it as simple as possible, because it gets complicated. The different indicators and stuff that I decided to put together for additional confluence, and I have no problem sharing it. It's just I don't want to overcomplicate something that Nate has tried so hard to make it super simple. You just took a buy on GCAD. Well, where's your GCAD? You took a buy on GCAD on the 15 or the hour or what? Let me see, GCAD. So you took this alert? The issue that I'm having with that is that your zone is right here. So if you are taking this trade, if you did take it, if your entry, I don't know what your entry would be. Yeah, I wouldn't take it for the full target. I'd take it for like 15 pips. And my stop would be pretty tight. Let me go see GCAD real quick. GCAD. Here, let's clean this up a little bit. GCAD on the 15. So this is how I'll analyze the charts. I go and look and I see the bottom and I look for the bottom. Now I like to draw trend lines, a lot of trend lines, and some people don't like them. I love them. They've been very good to me. So I just like to have an idea of where price has been and where it could potentially go. So this one here, we got a wedge, right? Got a wedge formation. I do a lot of wedges. When you put a stick here, it's going to go here about in the high 70% of the time. It's going to reach that stick as a target. Very, very high. This is the first thing I do now, is I want to have an idea of what this could mean. See here, now we got another wedge, right? This is a pretty good trend line. You got a bounce here, a bounce here, and a bounce here. So I like it. You may find that it's a little small. That's very true, Paresh. Very true. We do have Canadian news coming out. Pia, it's you can find me in the bag chats, Matt Pino. Find me in there, and I'm not really hard to find. I don't use no hidden names or anything. Let's go check this out. So, yeah, overall, I mean, it's good. It's a good bag. I'm just not taking the trade into the zone. I'll exit before this, and I'll probably bring it down to a 5-minute chart or something, and see what it goes to. Like, I wouldn't wait until it tries to challenge this top again. Yep. All right, guys. So yeah, just find me on Telegram. How about that? And then we'll do it that way. Let's go take a quick check, see what I can do for setup here. I love indices. It's been, but we do have news, Canadian news right now. Kind of some big stuff going on. Canadian economy is in trouble, to say the least. How bad? Well, I mean, they're printing money, and we're actually at the point where I believe I read a report that we haven't had this much debt to income ratio for the government, like GDP wise, in the last 100 and some years of the Federation. So it's bad. Not expecting a lot of good news from the Bank of Canada on any type of announcements in the next little bit. Just a sec here. Perfect. I got an alert here. We got something happening. Let's go check what's going on. I just have to monitor a couple of computers, so I apologize in advance if sometimes I got to back away. All right. Yeah, Ashley, I think it's a pretty good trade. Just I wouldn't be in it overly long. I'm not gonna sit in it and hope and pray it goes through that red zone. So just take a little bit, take what the market gives you, and move on. Let's go check this out. Not seeing anything. We got pound Swiss was still a sell, right? You're into the zone. I'm not touching that. Let me see if I can find my friend here. There's a couple people that were supposed to hop on today. We got 91 people in the call this morning. It's great. Just really happy to see these people. A little community that we're building over time, compound effect and changing people's lives. So thankful to have a little part in that, play a little part in helping people not have to go through all the losses and struggles and whatnot that I went through to obtain some kind of consistency in my trading. You know, if we can shorten the learning curve, then great. Give me just a second here, guys. I keep on losing my chat. Just looking for potential setup here for you guys. I don't see. I don't see anything thus yet. So let's go through a couple questions here. Pia, I'll find you. I'll find you. Don't worry. I think you found me. I saw a message from you, so we'll talk later. I just don't want to overcomplicate things, right? Nate has worked so hard to simplify the AIRO strategy, and so I would do it a disservice by overcomplicating it. I don't trade the UK 100, Mosin. I can add it. Right now, the challenge with the UK 100 is that it's not the London session. It's actually getting towards the end of the session. So if you do want to know how to add a pair, it's actually not rocket science. You just go in here, make sure you have your own pair list, and then you can add whoever you want. So I'm actually UK 100. It has to be exactly what your broker calls it. It has to match. If it doesn't match, then you're gonna get a little black screen. It's not gonna show up with the ADR. See, UK 100 is actually what? So let's see, UK 100 on the 30. I'm gonna go through a couple questions later while we wait for a setup here. This is interesting. Okay, you see this big pullback here, this, and then a higher low. UK 100, just from an overall price action perspective, it just seems like it may continue up, but we'll see what happens on the 30. Everyone talks about trend. They say, oh, what's the trend? Well, the trend changes. The trend changes based on the time frame. The 15-minute can be up and the 5-minute can be down. Yeah, Mosin, I'm all right. S&P. Sorry, guys, my seasonal allergies are catching up to me pretty hard. So let's go check this out, see what we got. All right, having trouble with the one-click. You're talking about one-click trading, Danielle? Is that the like once you open up a chart? So say I wanted EG, and I wanted one-click trading, then it would open up here. But then when I close it and I reopen it, it's going to open up a new chart. So if I go back to EG, excuse me, I'll make sure I don't sneeze in your guys' ears. But yeah. So you can't click through the panel pairs in the right corner. The panel pairs. You mean here, like the market watch, or do you mean here? in your dashboard. So if you want to run multiple things, what I found that works well is to have two dashboards running. You have one for your indices and your currencies and your cryptos, and then you have another one for your currency pairs with Forex. So you can see that I'll do H1, 30, 15, and 5 on Forex, and then I'll do 1 minute, 5 minute, 15, and 30 on this set here. That's just what I've been doing. You can do it however you wish, whatever feels more comfortable to you. Let's go see if I can find something here. XRP has been pretty interesting lately. So I don't know if any of you guys play around with the cryptos at all, but it's been a fun ride. Lots of opportunities. Oh, so you're talking about Market Watch. So your Market Watch, I think that's what I understand, Danielle. Correct me if I'm wrong, but your Market Watch, you're going to do Control M, makes it appear or disappear. And now that AIRO has been optimized significantly. All right, Danielle. So that seems like it might be, we need to figure out what's going on. It's either you might not be logged in correctly, you might be using your investor password instead of your other password. If you can't put a trade in, and one-click trading is only going to be active once you correctly log into an account, it could be a login issue. Or there could be a couple other things going on. So maybe let's figure out what's going on after later on this evening at one point. I'm today is a pretty busy day for myself. I got a couple things going on with the business, so Leon, that's a great question. So Jackie loves the 1 hour. That's what she does. I play with the lower time frames because I'm not as patient as Jackie. I like to make my money and run. For example, hold on a sec. Get a big rejection here. Just want to see what this looks like. Here we go. That's what we're talking about. Now, if it breaks out of the top here, NAS 100, if it breaks out of the top, then it has a high chance to go the length of the stick. In this scenario, what I would be doing is I wouldn't go the full stick. I would go up to here if it breaks out of the top. So that's a 5 minute. And now I would do some confirmations, right? I would look for confirmations on AIRO. I would find out where the AIRO zones are. So NAS on the 5. We got a big fat green zone here. We would be going counter trend, right? Because we're in a downtrend where it looks to me like it's the bottom of the run, but we'll see what happens. So that's NAS 100. Let's go see S&P real quick. I mean, Jackie loves to use S&P, but if you're on the S&P and you're on the hourly chart, your stop loss is going to be big because you need to cover that other zone. So you need a substantial account. Just being honest. You're not going to be trading that with like a $200 account or something, because you won't be able to withstand the drawdown. For example, here, a safe stop loss is on the other side of here, generally on the other side of the zone, right? If you're going to take a buy, even though this is counter trend and there's no arrow, okay? This is just, you're going to imagine. German 30 makes me really happy. So you guys, German 30 is happiness. It is a counter trend trade for sure. And maybe, oh, you're saying on the 1 minute? Yeah, we got a bounce on the 1 and it's moving up. So let's see if I can check my other charts. I'm going to see if I can, German 30. Yeah, I don't know. Let me see. I love Bollinger Bands because the math behind them just makes sense. Let me show you something. So Bollinger Bands are interesting and you can't use them standalone. Okay, you need other confirmations. Let me just throw Bollinger Bands on here and then you see the bounce. That's a pretty clean bounce. Now, if you add, right, if you can go counter trend with AIRO if you have other confirmations, okay? But you can't just go counter trend just because, right? So here's your wedge, okay? Your wedge formation, bottom, bounce on the Bollinger Band, and the likelihood that it hits here is very, very high. Very, very high. Yeah, so the specific settings, so I've got a couple things. I'm just using standard deviation 2.5 and length of 20 for now on the 1 minute chart. And you can adjust it a little bit depending on what your strategy, but with the combination of the other things that I use, it just works out well. But you see how the break here and it tags, and that would be the exit. I wasn't in there in time. Now, likelihood is that it continues going up for a while. There's going to be, now we're going to go back to AIRO real quick. I want to show you something with AIRO. AIRO is going to bring, so here's your German 30, here's your AIRO. So that's your, this is your wedge here. You can see the little wedge. So I know that at this level, it's going to bounce. If I get an arrow down, I'm in there. So this could bounce here, or it could bounce here, but we're not going to take it until we get a bounce and we get a confirmation of the arrow in that direction. So let's see. And you'll see how it lines up with TradingView. So that is Just a sec. I got quite a few screens open, so I apologize in advance if it seems like you're not seeing anything on my screen. So now, here's where it gets really fun, okay? This trend is going to continue until it breaks this trend line. I'm saying, well, how do you know that? Well, we're going to see. So now, you see how it blew past this red zone that was up here in AIRO? This is what's fun, because AIRO zones do disappear, which gives us more room to the downside, right? We're patiently looking for the right setup. This zone's gone, right? This is gone. Boom, it's gone. This one, it may stop here. It may not. Now I see something. I see something very interesting on German 30. And I just want to show you guys how you can leverage wedges. You're like, well, I don't want to trade wedges. Well, maybe you just trade trend lines. Start drawing trend lines some places. You might see something special. You want to see something really interesting that might work out? Watch it reject right here on this line. I'm gonna lighten this up a little bit. You see on this one, you get a bounce off of here. And it goes to the bottom one. Now you get this big bullish candle to the upside. I have a feeling it's going to stop right here. This candle has another 53 seconds. $46 for the 15-minute candle. And then I'll talk about some of the different Fibbo levels and whatnot, and what a person can look at. So you got 29, 28. Huh? Come on. A little bit higher. A little bit higher. And then I'll explain to you why I had a strong feeling that price was going to stop on this line. Okay. That's a Steve Greger special. At least it's going to stop. Could potentially blow through it, but at least it respected it. It knew where that line was. Price is intelligent. Just give me a minute. Those seasonal allergies. All right. So if you guys are in that thing, man, you guys are laughing all the way to the bank. You guys are laughing all the way to the bank, because that's going to go right, might go right through that next zone. So Janika, if your broker doesn't allow you to trade German 30, then you need to evaluate other options that are available. Let me know. Send me a message in Telegram, and I'll show you a couple options. And it's not financial recommendations or nothing, just options that are available, and then you can do your due diligence. I use a couple fib levels on TradingView, but mostly the basic ones. Look at this thing go, guys. This thing's should have been in there, guys. I should have been in there. I gotta be more careful, as my friend Cash would say. I didn't want to chase it. I saw the setup, it just wasn't. I've already made my pips for the day, so. Oh yeah, this is gravy. Boom. Beautiful. All right. Let's see if we can find a way to make some money off of this thing. I just don't know. I don't want you guys to be potentially taking this sucker, and because all the indices are going up, they're going counter trend right now. German 30 is kind of the leader when it comes to something happening, and then S&P 500 goes, and US 30 goes, and let me show you something. This is after the fact, but I want to see if we can find a potential entry, okay? What we're looking for, guys, is we're looking for the downside. It's a higher probability trade. Let's go find that out. So for trading, oh, check this out. Come on. Look, this thing is ridiculous, guys. This is ridiculous. Hey, just to know, did anyone actually take that? Did anyone actually take that trade? Oh, I love it. Good. Good. Now be cautious, okay? Be cautious. Yeah, do it on demo. 222 pips. Yeah, be cautious because you got this red zone. AIRO's telling you, hey, you're going to find some trouble here. Right? You're going to find some trouble here. So let me show you how we can try and find a way to get into and catch the retracement of this, and why you might want to catch the retracement. Okay. When you have a big, strong move up, you generally have a stronger retracement to the downside. Either it's going to go 30%. Even if you catch 30% of this move, it's going to be fantastic. Here's a second arrow. That's why I don't like second arrows, because you're going into the zone. Yeah, listen, indices, you need a bigger account. That's the challenge. All right, Danielle, let's, yeah, we'll have to figure it out. If you don't have bid and ask on your screen, that means you're not logged into your broker properly, or there's something going on there. Okay. Let me go see my trading view real quick. Look at this thing go. See how it respected it and then it just blew past it? So it knew where this line was. Now let's see if it's going to go here. Likelihood that it comes up to this Bollinger Band, guys. Bollinger Band on the 15, right? You see how it likes to go from one Bollinger Band to the other Bollinger Band. Now, 15-minute is a big play. This is the trend line that I would draw on the 15-minute chart, right? You'd go from top to top, and now you're about to break through there. So there you might have something. Let's fix this up. How about that? might look for a short. Hey guys, might look for a short. Short setting up. You see how we're already at the top of the Bollinger Band, so it might pump up a little bit more and then start coming down. But I'm looking for AIRO to confirm the short. Prabjot, you don't see my screen? Anyone else having some problems? Because I think everyone else can see my screen. I am sharing my screen. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. You got me a little concerned there, my friend. I thought it was my system. I got a couple screens up, so sometimes it's hard to monitor everything, monitor chat, monitor the trades. What do we got? I got an alert for something. Here, I'm going to lower your hand. How about that? What do you got? S&P SPX 500. So I'm sitting on DAX for now because I'm looking for a short. And then yeah, you may not be able to trade everything. That's all dependent on your broker and whatever else. Let's go check S&P 500 for a buy. Let's use AIRO. I use AIRO as a confirmation. There's certain things I can't wait until Nate brings this thing on TradingView, man. Like, it's gonna be the bomb. So let's see. Let's see what's gonna happen. There might be something. There might be something happening here. If it fails to break this high, this is a big W, right? Big W. So you see how some people don't like second arrows? I absolutely despise second arrows because look, you don't have much room there anymore. Here's your first arrow. It's good. Your second arrow, not so much. Here's your first arrow. Here's your second arrow, right? Now there would have been bounces here. It's just that those zones, they repaint after a while. So going back in time sometimes becomes a challenge if you want to back test or evaluate some of the trade ideas that were presented before. Let's go see. You see this consolidation? This is why I don't want to catch something that's flying up like this. Let's see. This is that. Oh yeah, sorry. I apologize. We were talking about S&P 500 for a buy. S&P 500 on the 5. Yeah, see, it's the same story, right? It's going in the same direction as the DAX. And you're right into that zone. So I'm looking for a short. I had a couple positions in S&P earlier this morning. I had it on this bounce. And then I entered here as a buy, so I took a little bit of heat, but we finally got out of those positions, ended up in profit. You know, we don't get all of them, but over trading is where we start losing the shirt off your back. You see why I don't want to be going counter trend. generally, as a rule, if you're starting off, you don't want to be going counter trend. There is a strategy specifically for that, but if you haven't taken a volume of these trades, don't go counter trend, because at least in my own experience, the probabilities of winning a counter trend trade are lower than going with the trend. So S&P 500. My allergies are really bad this morning. I'm sorry, Valentina, for missing that S&P 500. Did you actually end up taking it? So, Leon, on the New York session, I focused generally on the currency pairs that are going to move the best during the London, during the New York session. So that would be any of the North American pairs, anything denominated by US or Canadian. Oh, okay. Yeah, it's still fine, right? Like, don't worry about the trades that you don't take. If it's not a clean setup. Yes, exactly. Daniela, it's the same. DAX 30, German 30, same thing. They call it the DAX, but it all depends, right? It depends on what your broker calls it. So for the New York session, I am generally going to be focusing on the major USD pairs, some of the Canadian pairs. I'm going to try to stay away from anything that's trading in the Asian session, or the Australian session. It has to be a nice setup, because at about 11 o'clock, the price movements and stuff just go low. Look at that. It just flew right past there. I don't know, guys. S&P is just, it's counter trend like crazy. And it just went through that zone like a hot knife through butter. I don't know where to get in, because there's no, well, let's try something. I'm trying to see where that next zone is, because generally it's going to bounce off a zone. It's either going to generate a zone or it's going to bounce off of a zone. There's literally no zones anywhere on the one. So the next zone is up here. That's pretty far. So the next zone could generate anywhere from here to there. It could create another red zone. Just going through Q&A, going through the chat here, just making sure I don't forget anything, make anyone feel like they're left out. Yeah, I wasn't not taking this on my live account. I've already made my pips for the day. I just don't know where. Yes, I do trade gold on the 5. So same story. Look at this thing. We don't. Interesting. So let's go let's zoom out. This thing's just flying high. Everything's getting blown out of the water. There's really no entry. And the problem with chasing these things and I'll explain to you exactly why you don't want to be chasing something like this. And I showed you an example with S&P at a 0.02. Let me show you gold, okay, at a 0.01. I want you guys to see something. A 0.01 on gold on a buy, okay? And this is where people get hurt because they go for these long extended runs and then it pulls back 60% or 30% or 40% and their account can't handle it. So let me get to a good spot here. I'll show you on TradingView because it's a lot easier for me. Right here. Let's go to gold. How about that? Someone asked about gold. We're going to go to gold. XAU. Okay. Could be the top of a run. There's a lot of upward momentum anyway. So let's talk about something here. So this is the bottom of the run. You got a couple places you can use your Fibbo. But the first thing I do is I'm always drawing trend lines, okay? Notice here, it's a third hit on a trend line. A lot of the time, I now understand I'm drawing this in hindsight. So hindsight's going to be 2020, right? So you're always going to see. But right before you have your big breakout, you're going to have a wedge. And then you have a W. Okay? But your wedge breakout, this gives me an idea of potentially how far this gold breakout is going to go. That's where I see the top, where those big wicks are. So anyway, beyond that, let's do some Fibbo work. Show you a couple of things that I've learned over the years from some of the best traders I know. So Fibbo retracement, basically you got a couple ways to do it. You're going to do the bottom of the run to the top of the run, right? So if this is your top, this is the top of your run, you're going to want to see how far back it could come. Well, guess what, guys? It could come back 50 to 61.8 before it keeps on going to the top, or it could pull back 38 too, right? Well, that retracement here is actually a pretty substantial move. That's what's that, $4 move. It's 500 pips. Can you take a 500 pip pullback? Yeah, CAD did go crazy. CAD did go crazy. They're probably printing more money, but you see why you don't want to be chasing the top. Now I'm looking for potentially. Let's go see something real quick. I think I don't want to I don't want to miss an trading opportunity for you guys. Like I said, I've already made my money for the day, but I just want to get somewhere real quick here. I'm starting to hesitate about German 30 because we're already at the run, right? So now we're in a red zone. We got a red zone here. You see this? This is why you generally don't want to be chasing. This is a demo, but you don't want to chase something because now you're going to be stuck until it continues up. And it may not continue up for a significant amount of time, or it could do it tomorrow. So let's see. Let's draw another trend line. How about that? Might go here, right? If it breaks if it breaks this trend line, it might come down and bounce on this trend line also, or it might break it, but it's probably going to have some kind of interaction with it. And because there was a red zone here and you got such a nice bounce, if it comes down, before it generates an arrow, it needs to cross this arrow moving average. So this arrow moving average is, you're not going to get a down arrow until it crosses here. Just going to check this out. Oh, Al. My trading partner is here. Mr. Mittman.
I am in. Yes, I am back.
How are you, sir?
I'm doing well.
Good.
Just close out all the trades we took earlier this morning, so we're doing good so far today.
Nice, nice. Well, the CAD went through, it just went crazy. So, but the indices just went counter trend really hard. I took a couple pieces of that, but I've made my money for the day, so I'm not gonna continue trading. You know, I don't want to be over trading. I've already, well, let's just say I've surpassed my daily goal significantly with a combination of your session in the morning and this one. It was a very profitable day. Give me a minute. I just have to check. I'm just showing them some ways that you can use and why you may not want to chase daggers, right? They're chasing these trades that just run. I took these two trades on demo because just for an experiment. But you know how we're looking for like a 38.2 retracement? Well, if you get in here and you retrace 38% of that move, that's a pretty significant drawdown in German 30.
Yes,
right?
it is. Yeah.
That's a lot of money because this is a big move up. So you need to expect that it's going to pull back at least 38.
And if you don't get the pullback, you just wait until you get the pullback that you're looking for.
Right. And the deeper the pullback, generally, the bigger the swing back up.
Right.
So entering here is a terrible idea, right? Don't take the trade at the arrow as soon as you see an arrow and it's an uptrend. This is going to cause you to lose a lot of money. This could get you trapped in greed.
Yeah, the thing is, you just never know how deep that drawdown is. And this is one where you could maybe look at doing like a buy stop at the arrow, but you still give it. You're on a 1 minute chart, so
yeah, it is. It is a 1 minute chart, and I
will follow it. A lot of times, I still want to see the higher time frames give me the pullback, and then maybe try and find that where the end of that pullback is on the lower time frames.
Yeah, well, like I've been saying since the beginning of the call, I was looking for sells anyway, and this was counter trend. I didn't want to go counter trend anyway. So right here, we're looking for shorts, right? 5 minute, super strong downtrend. We had this really strong pullback. Let's go see what it looks like a little bit closer here. We got a red zone. If we do have an arrow to the downside, we might take that short, but we'll see what happens.
It is in a downtrend. It's right now. I'm not sure it's in a good spot to be able to draw the Fibonacci retracements on this.
It's not. It's really not. It's honestly not. Like I don't see something that I can do. Give me just a second here. Just have to check some emails real quick.
Remember, on the indices, you generally tend to trade those off of a 5 minute chart to because they move so fast and so violently
Yes.
sometimes.
Yes, and if you're not used to it, it'll take the shirt right off your back.
Yeah.
It will. Let me see here. I just have a perfect.
The other thing is you don't always know where the turnaround's going to be. I mean, right now it's in a downtrend, but eventually every downtrend turns back into an uptrend, or at least goes sideways. And you don't always know exactly where that turnaround point is going to be, where it starts actually changing directions. And that's
That
where
is
a lot
true.
of times, that's a lot of times where I'll look and see, like on a higher time frame, on like a daily chart or something like that, I'll be looking at that to see where like a daily pullback is. Like if you go to take that German 30 on a daily chart, you'll see it's in a strong uptrend on a daily chart, and then look and see where that pullback may be, because you're going to be getting daily pullbacks and daily trend direction changes, but you're really looking at, you have to look at the bigger picture.
Certainly.
And like I said, with the Fibonacci's, you don't always want to be, you want to be doing your Fibonacci retracements off of I think 15-minute time frame is about as low as I will go, and that's only if I'm trading, basically taking trades off of a 5 or 1 minute. But I think you're much safer having at least on a hourly time frame to look for those retracements.
Agreed. You see here, this is kind of, you were talking about the daily, right? You were talking about daily. Well, look, we're super high.
So it's
high.
It's about due to have a pullback off the daily. So you're looking at the daily pullback, but you want that to be pulling back in. And actually, if you look at your daily chart, if you draw a Fibonacci from the last wick to the high into,
you're saying here, right? Or are you saying here?
No, keep going up, keep going up, keep going up.
Here?
That one right there, from there to the high.
Yeah. Let's
draw Fibonacci from there.
Let's go do that, man. Insert Fibonacci retracement.
And just go from,
I know you like to use the expansion.
Yeah, I would, well, actually on this one, I use what you're using. So just go from there to the high.
Yeah.
All the way over. And you'll see that you're looking right now, you're probably looking pretty close to your 30. Now go to 1 minute chart or 5 minute or 1 hour chart.
Okay. Let's do that. I find this so sloppy, man. So sloppy.
But look, you can,
we got to bring it back. I really despise MT4. It's so antiquated. I just got alert. Just a sec here.
Yeah, but you'll see that it came right down and just tagged that 38% retracement.
Yes, it did. It absolutely did. It liked that 38 area, and it just blew below just to get people sucked in and say, oh, yeah, well, maybe it's going to go deeper. Yeah. But it didn't.
But even now that, in fact, it did tag that 38%, it was really, you were showing that it was in a downtrend on your 5 minute and your 1 minute chart, but it's still really in the, this is just a really strong pullback off the higher time frames. So Agreed. This is where you're going to start looking for that reversal pattern.
Agreed. So we're going to have to try to find more or less, see, on the 1 hour, you get a really good picture of what's going on, right? You get a really good picture actually on the 1 hour. Hold on. I'm going to pull up my trading view charts. I want to bring something to light here. All right. So let's clean this up a little bit. See, we put the stick. We went the stick from the top to the bottom. That's where it rejected, started coming back down. We're looking at 38.2, right? It could go 38.2. It could go all the way down to 61.8 before it actually starts retracing.
If it goes past 61.8, I'm also a little bit leery about how high it's going to. It's like you pull it back to that 68.1, 61.8. It will probably retest the zero line, or at least maybe the 23% line.
Yeah.
But if it goes much more than that, if it goes down to 78%, then you start looking at a little bit of a different picture. Just it's not a normal pullback. It's more of a it starts that's when you
It
start
starts
looking at,
looking like a W or a M, right? It's like
yeah.
you're getting into some areas you don't want to be messing around with.
Yeah.
And that's what we love about AIRO, is that it keeps us out of that junk by giving us the direction and whatnot. Let me see here. We were on DAX, right? Let me clean this up a little bit. Get DAX up here. German 30.
You see there's a cat switch alert right now too. That looks,
Is there?
Oh, well, it's that one may be way out of this. That was the one that there's a huge
the news.
That was a news announcement. Yeah, that's why that's where that is.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Just,
don't chase news.
Yeah.
There's too many. There's way too many good trade setups.
Eurocad's the same way. I'm just looking at the charts. These are all the CAD trades that triggered, but they're no, yeah, they're way out of the chute, so to speak.
Yeah, we don't want that either. Let's see. Hold on. We're doing some funky stuff. All right, hold on. Let's go see. We were talking about the 1 hour on DAX. Let's bring this here and get rid of some of this stuff. As you can tell, I love trading the DAX. It's been very nice to me. It's been paying bills. Ooh, I see something. This might be interesting. Because just drawing a couple things, just real quick, playing around. I just want to see. Okay. I like that as a target. I like that as a target. What's that? 15248. Because what we did is we're looking for this pullback here, this whole retracement here. I'm going to get rid of the trades I took. Took lots of trades in DAX, but yeah, overall trend, really strong high. So, and you see, what's interesting is it filled that huge gap here, that holiday gap, or whatever happened here, that big gap. It came back and it filled it. Let's see what the retracement is on this move here. If we're going from, I'm going to try to get back to everyone that's sending me messages by the end of the day. Here's 38.2 retracement of that entire move. Al, isn't that what you said? 38.2?
I did, yes.
Yeah, you were right on the point. I mean, it's got to be like your 30 years of trading experience or something, or playing around with Fibos, but you were on point, man.
I say, if you can't find something on the lower time frame, just go to the higher time frames and see what the bigger picture is, and then you start, focusing in on the lower time frames to see if you can make something out of it. But right now, let's see, that's the German 30.
Let's go see what AIRO has to say here. AIRO. I'm going to close that down. But like I said earlier on, I trade right now 8 out of whatever trades. 8 out of 10 trades are going to be on indices, and probably 5 out of 10 of them are on German 30. But you see how that red zone's here? That's going to be interesting. I got to monitor a couple systems, so sometimes NAS. We got a NAS on the 1. It says short. What did we talk about NAS on the short, eh? Maybe. Let's go see if we can qualify that. You got to bounce, but I don't have enough to tell me what direction. So I'm going to go 5. 5. There's no green zone there anymore. So I almost like that. There's a green zone down there. Red zone. Let me go check trading view real quick. See if we can get into a nice little trade here. I will make sure that it's nice and as pristine as can be, because NAS 100, yeah. 1 hour, no good. Let's go see 5. Hold on, I gotta clean this up. You don't need a big move on NAS. You just need the right move. That's the big deal. I want to try something real quick. Draw enough trend lines and you'll see them all over the place. Al, I started throwing the Bollinger Bands on there.
Uh-huh. I know you like those.
Yeah. You want to know why? It's because with this specific setting, once you get your high in your Bollinger Band and your high in your Bollinger Band, but you get a higher high, and here's your higher high. So now we're just waiting for it to come up and maybe challenge this trend line one more time. And then maybe we would look for that short that was explained on the, see, NAS set a buy now, right? So I'm still looking for a short. I'm not changing my mind, because I need a bounce more or less. Oh, one important thing. Sorry, I'm going to correct myself. Now that there's an up arrow, this no longer qualifies as a bounce. Okay, this is not a bounce anymore because now you have an up arrow into that. So that's not a bounce arrow go. So in order to take that trade, we'll have to qualify it another way. And this may be where TradingView comes in. It might not. This is going to be a lower probability trade then. I love the math behind the Bollinger Bands. Now, don't worry about what you're seeing on my screen. If you're brand new, don't breathe too much into it. This works better on the 1 for this specifically. That was that. That was that bottom. Because NAS likes to move, right? And you don't want to be in the wrong position on NAS. So I'm waiting for it to reject this trend line or bounce or do whatever it's going to do. I actually like it. Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I'm actually going to take a small position on this one for a buy, even though it's not. Hold on here. This is not an AIRO trade, more or less. But I'm taking this. It's just because of the impulsivity to the upside that it's had over the last little bit. So I'm going to go not too big of a move. I'm gonna go check TradingView, and then I'll explain why I qualified this trade off this bounce, off of this. Once it broke this trend line, this trend line was established over here. So for me, I'm not going to take it super high. We'll see what happens. A little bit higher. A little bit higher. Oh, don't generally, no financial advice is given, but it's probably not in your best interest to be trading this if you don't have at least $1,000 in your trading account, right? Because NAS will move and you will get yourself into trouble very fast. My lights switched. If we lose connection, that wouldn't be good.
There's a
Let's go
comment
check
in
this
there's
out.
a comment in the question and answer box about talking about that. It seems like a lot of the time we spend on these calls is saying what not to do, what not to trace, what not to take, and that's probably the big key with trading is to being able to separate the good trades from the bad trades. And a lot of times they look good, but there's always some other qualifiers sometimes, and that's where by being on these calls you'll learn to be able to distinguish what causes a trade to be good, what seems like this is a no-brainer to take it, or this one is just iffy enough to where you only want to take the best trades that you can come up with, and you want to have as many things in your toolbox as you can to be able to make that difference. And so, yeah, a lot of times on these calls we spend saying, yeah, here's a trade, looks like a possibility, but no, I don't like it because of whatever the reason. So.
Yeah, if you can disqualify your trade, right? If you can disqualify the trade, then your criteria is good,
yeah.
Right? You don't want to be just taking every trade that comes your way. You only want the best trades, like Al said.
And all you need is one or two really good trades a day, and there's enough trades out there that there's usually always one that will help to make it pretty clear cut as far as what you should do or not do.
Yeah, let's see what's going on here. Hold on, I'm going to pay very close attention to this because we're getting up to a high here, and we're going to have some consolidation. So this is we might have your fractal high. Where's my trading view? Oh, yeah, that was a fractal high. You see how it's coming back down, challenging this trend line? Let's see what's going to happen. Is it going to break through the trend line? Who knows?
And so even like right now, anything that has a CAD in it, a Canadian dollar in it, since we had that announcement, those candles are so big. Just I would give it at least an hour before let those moves settle in a little bit before you try taking any trade that comes up.
Yeah.
So like right now, as these things come up on the dashboard, I just if it's a CAD pair, a Canadian dollar pair, I just I may look at it.
Here's your retracement. Here's your retracement. So I'm allowing it to come down to 32. So we'll see. We'll see what happens here. Just note this was not an AIRO trade, okay? This is not a bag entry. This is not nothing. This is just me trying to catch, put a little bag in the hands of the people. Because sometimes during the calls, there's no real good setups. And that's just the reality of the situation. This is coming back real hard, which makes me believe it might come back to 61.8. Might come back and challenge that AIRO moving average. 38.2. What do you think, Al?
I need to blow yours up a little bit here.
How's your crystal ball this morning?
This is on the NASDAQ.
Yeah.
That you're on a 1 minute chart.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's coming back hard. 38.2 is right here.
When I'm not making your chart bigger, I can't see. Oh, why is
Oh yeah, no, it's my bad. Here, I've got I got a lot of stuff on there.
That's a little bit easier to see.
Yeah, I was just trying to show AIRO in the background as well. Keep my eyes on that.
So let me draw it out and see what I can come up with here on that AIRO, on that NASDAQ.
Yeah, so I got so we're getting eaten on this one. Let's see what's going on.
I think the NASDAQ's in a pullback right now.
Yeah,
it's not pulled back enough for me to. So I pulled.
Consider coming in, eh?
I think I'd have to wait on this one a little bit more.
Yeah, let's go see.
Again, this one follows a little bit the same situation as what the German 30 did. Was looking at a pullback off the daily chart into, right now it's only at the 23% pullback in an uptrend.
Of that original move, yeah, exactly. Yeah. So 23.6, it could. So when I entered that buy, we were pretty much at the top. So gonna take some heat on that. Let's see, what do we got here? Let's go see AIRO real quick. I'm gonna bring this one over here so I can continue to monitor it while I'm. Here's that AIRO moving average, right? AIRO moving average is right here. We're finally on that moving average. If it rejects here, it could generate that that zone that we wanted after all. Something about that AIRO moving average, Al. Like it just.
It likes to. It's like a little bit of a magnet. Let me. Can I just have the charts for a second?
Yeah. You go ahead. I'm just gonna stop sharing for a little bit. Give me 30 seconds. I just gotta step away for a minute. Is that all right?
All right. I'll show this while you're stepping away here.
Okay. I just gotta check on a couple of things. I
got the kids in the back. You need to give me ability. You didn't.
Oh, I didn't.
No.
Oh, sorry, man. Here. All right, good to go. Okay, you should be able to share.
This is something I want to show on this. This is back on that German 30, what we were talking about.
Yeah, let's see what's up.
We had the daily chart, and I took it from this little pivot here to the top. This is on a daily. You can see this is a strong daily. It's in a strong uptrend for several weeks, actually. Because I said I'm on a daily chart right now. So I started with this last pivot and came up to the high, and we said it pulled back to the 38%. As I go to a 1 hour chart, you'll see this is where the move was. Here's the high. And we said it pulled back all the way to the 38% retracement, which is right here. The next level that you're going to be looking at, what oftentimes I'll do, especially on the lower time frames, when it hits the 38%, I'll be looking at trying to enter a long trade at the 23 to maybe take it on up as this pullback, because I still use the 23.6 because that's usually the area. If it can break through that, it oftentimes will go up to the next level, which would be right up here. But if you look and see where it bounced off of 30%, and if we looked at a 15-minute chart, we have an up arrow, and you can see where this is my 200 moving average. I've got all the crossovers of my other moving averages. We have a zone here, but this would be my next target. If we had, by the way, I just took this a little bit earlier ago. Here was a trade off the 5-minute, which is what we oftentimes use. Here's a trade off the 5-minute. My target would have been the 23.6, and that's still a valid target. Now I wouldn't do it right now, But as you see, like right now, it crossed all the moving averages on these lower time frames. It broke the 200. These are still following up. Had the arrow, and right now the next target I'd be looking at would be the 23.6 for a target. And you might get a bounce off that, but if it can break that 23.6, it's going to be going up higher after that strong pullback of that off that daily range. And like I said, everything is either going trending up. It's always, depending on what time frame you're looking at. It's either trending up, it's trending down, or it's going sideways. But you can have an argument on no matter which time frame you're looking at. But you have to decide which time frame you want to reference things. But use the higher time frames as your bounce points, as your pivot points, as your consolidation points. Because you can see, like right now, this thing's just been, ever since this morning, it's been going sideways since this pullback to this area. So right now, this area is going sideways. But if I go to a 1 minute chart, it's trending. So that's why I say you have to be able to determine which time frame you want to put your focus on. I like using a 15-minute for day trading. I like using a 15-minute for a major directional move. And then I like using the, and I'll fine tune it sometimes going into the lower time frames to find that bounce off of these key areas. Like right here's this key area right here. And then we had the other, and I said the 23.6 is up here. Let me see if I can draw that. So these are the two areas, and right now it's trending, but in essence it's still going sideways inside this whole range. And that's what I want to really point out is that you'll still get trending on lower time frames, but on the higher time frames it's still going sideways. You're going to find those ranges where it's ranging. And then if you just go for, you get your, like I said, on a 5 minute chart, we had the arrow. And we know we're in an uptrend because and it bounced off of this strong move up. And instead, if you're just going for five ticks or $5 in this case, that's all you need to make, and then you have your target. And that's all I really wanted to say about that.
Yeah, no, that's good. Getting way too much heat on this one. Getting way too much heat on this one. Yeah, Nas.
Well, again, let's see, where did it start? Where does there again?
Gotta be much more careful. I didn't wait till it pulled back.
See, I'm on a daily chart. Here's the pivot. This is the same picture as we had on.
It is.
And you see it pull back to 28. I said I like seeing between the 28, the 38, and the 50. Jackie says she doesn't take until it gets to the 38, and I think there's a lot of good reason for that. But if you take from this area, the 38 to the 50, just wait for it to get into that zone. And I would be willing to bet if I draw this zone, somewhere over here, you'd probably find a spot that may show you where this little bounce point is going to be. So let me go to there's a daily chart. Let's go to a 15-minute chart and see where the zone is. And see if I can make this bigger and see if I can find out over here.
I don't like that.
Let's see. We got to scrunches up here a little bit here. Let's go to a 4-hour chart. See what. And there's a little bit of a. See, there's a little rally. There's a lot. See this little wick right here. Let me see if we can see this here. You see it. There's a strong move up, came back down. This little wick came down, tested this zone. From here, it launched back up and started trending. I would expect this thing, and this is right at the 38% line. And I would be willing to bet when this thing comes back down, tags this, it's going to bounce again. Right now, it's still in a downtrend. It's tagging this.
You see that W, right? You see the W on the way down.
On the way down.
See? Oh no, you got it. From the red zone, you see kind of like a W formation.
Usually the W is what it signify. This would be more like the M, I would think.
Oh, okay, yeah. You're fine.
Because the M's are usually at the top part coming on down. W's are at the bottom heading on up.
Okay, makes sense.
Yeah. So But right now it's bouncing off the 23%. I'd still like to see a little bit stronger pullback. And it's also curled, this moving average is now curled down. And let's see, I don't have my other moving averages. Let's take a look and see where the other moving averages are here.
I'm just going to focus for a minute or so to get out of this trade without try to break even or something, and then I'll let the people know when I get out.
You see how all the moving averages are starting to consolidate right there at around the 23% pullback of that. Let me draw my fib lines again. To back to my daily. Here's my last pivot. Here's my high. Go back to my 15-minute chart. Let's see, right now we have the bounce off the 21. Again, we like to see a little bit more, but now our moving averages are now pointing down. These are consolidating. I suspect it's going to come up here, tag that, and maybe go even a little bit lower. And it may take a while for that to happen.
Yeah, it could. What time is it now? We're at 10:43.
Yeah, so we're getting near the end of the main trading day, especially with, well, this with the NASDAQ, so the S&P is, this is still the new day market, but it came right on up, tagged this 200 moving average. The 62 is still coming down. I think this thing still has some room to the downside from, you can draw a trend line from here to here to here. And right now it's still following a trend line to the downside.
Yeah. Oh, and also your 1362, eh?
And the 1362.
Yeah.
Now, if I go to an even lower time frame, you'll probably see it starting to trend down, and we'll probably be looking at it coming down to at least retest this area.
Let's see. Let's see
what it does. It may be bouncing. Let's see what it does. Got a bounce off the 23. But we still have some upward pressure. We still have some more pressure up here. It's probably
I don't need it to go very far to get me out of this trade. So,
and it's in a downtrend. On this time frame, it's in a downtrend. On the daily, it was on an uptrend. So again, you want to focus on the time frame you want to focus on and use the trending for, and right now we have 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Right now it's going sideways. And so there's really no clear direction, but it's ranging between this area and this area right here.
Right.
So I don't see where this is any clear direction, which way to take this one.
Nope. Nope. I'm just trying to get out. I might actually even take a small loss. If I can get out of this trade, then great. I'm just letting her go. She's coming up. If she gets to 1384, I'll close everything out. That'll be my break even.
Now, we do know that this thing was in an uptrend and bounced off the 23, and it hasn't, which means if this thing, so right now, this thing's still in an uptrend. If it can break through this barrier right here, then you could maybe possibly draw a Fibonacci in the other direction from this pivot. I'd like to see it break this first, come on up to, we'll say maybe about like that. If it can break up here, then come back down and retest the 38, then you may be able to go higher. But right now, I'd like to see it, I would look at this being more like a trap right in here. So again, there's too many different, there's not enough consistency.
There's too much mess here, right?
Yeah, there's not enough consistency. You've got on one side is going one way, and another is going another direction. And so that's where you have to decide how much do you want to go for, and is there enough room? And right now really isn't enough room, because right now it's really bouncing between this red zone and this green zone. We did have, here's yesterday's money zone right here. It did break that a little bit, but you can see it really didn't. It had a small little close here, but this was a wick up down. This tells me this thing may still keep on going up, but it is somewhat range bound between here and here.
Yep, she's not clean this morning, man.
Not clean.
She's not clean.
So that's
it's getting into that time where you're going to get a lot of consolidation, right? Right at lunchtime.
Yeah, and usually
So-
after 11 o'clock, it starts getting to be kind of iffy. Everybody's going to lunch, and you may get a little bit more movement right after around 2 or 3 o'clock in the afternoon on these
right before the markets close.
on these indexes. Yeah, and usually if you watch the S&P, especially right around 3:30 to 4 to 4:15 East Coast time, that's where you'll see a lot of times the final move of the day is going to be, and you can usually catch some pretty strong spikes around that time. But before 2 o'clock, after 2 o'clock to 3 o'clock, it'll give you a lot of head fakes. So
Agreed.
just keep that in mind.
Agreed.
That's the reason to be careful with these indexes.
Yeah.
So
I like them in the morning, but right now I've got to be much more careful. Let's see if we can.
so go ahead. I'll stop sharing. You can take over.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for your input. Let's see here. I'm scared to I'm scared to ask how many people got into that NAS trade because I'm probably going to take a loss on it pretty soon. And I despise giving out a trade and it ended up being a loss, especially since it's not even an AIRO trade. It was more of a let's put a trade in the hands of the people. Hold on a sec. I'm going to share my screen. Screen 2. iPhone, iPad. I don't even know how it's. I don't even have an iPad or an iPhone. All right. So this is where I'm going to try to get out of the trade. I'm going to show you how I would exit a bad trade. Okay. Because this is one that I consider not great. And the simple fact is this: we're looking at the same exact thing here. You see that trend line right here, which was what I want to draw here, right here, from here to there. Okay. If it breaks, well, it broke, but if it closes up, it's probably going to bounce on this zone. If it does, I'm exiting. I'm going to take that and walk away, but we'll see what happens. You see the trend line shows up a little bit differently on MT4. On Trading View, the lines are a little bit different. Oh, that's not good. That's that break to the downside. So now we got a zone here and we got a Bollinger Band. So that's the barriers that we have. I don't like this trend line. It's not, every once in a while, you draw a trend line and you need to readjust it. We'll see what happens. It's got some gas to the downside. This would have been the opportune sell. Now I'm waiting for that potential buy setup. But I'm in enough drawdown that I'm not comfortable. So I may take another position to exit the trade faster. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. So anyway, here I'll explain a couple of the indicators I have on here. So I've got an RSI, I've got a stochastic, I've got a %R, something that not a lot of people have played with. And then I use Bollinger Band %B, which is something I just started messing around with and I'm really enjoying. So the combination of these three together in conjunction with AIRO make for a pretty good layout, because they work very well with AIRO. So for the scalping on the 1 minute, this would be your sell off the bounce on the Bollinger Band, and your RSI, and your stochastic, and your flip, and your R, and then Bollinger Band %B, and then you take it to the other Bollinger Band. And once the RSI gets to the bottom, you exit. So that would be the sell trade. That works on gold and anything that moves really fast. I don't use that on Forex pairs. So we'll see. We'll see what happens with this. Every once in a while, you got to keep on adjusting your trend lines a little bit. You'll find that you get better bounces. That's why hindsight's 2020. So wherever it breaks, if it officially breaks down, we could be in some hot water if you took this trade. It could come down here, which would be somewhere like this green zone here in AIRO. But if it breaks to the upside, it'll get us out of these trades here. So we'll see what happens. You see how the Bollinger Band %B, this is the bottom of the run. Right now, it's not at the bottom yet, so it could come down more before it gives us that up arrow. So here's your down arrow. Let's see if it's going to bounce here and give us that direction here. Stochastic settings on the 1 are 533. And I use it for the 5 as well. You're seeing me. This is a good example of what not to do. Trade AIRO. Don't try and make your own trades. The consistency I have had started when I started using AIRO, to be honest. AIRO and wedges. When I started utilizing AIRO and wedges together, it's just been fantastic. So here we're sitting in consolidation, which is not my favorite place to be. See, one poor judgment move can cost you your day's worth of profits. See, that's breaking down. That's a strong break. But we need it to, we need the Bollinger Band %B to be at the bottom there. Once it gets to that bottom, then that's going to identify that that is the 1 minute bottom. You're welcome, Pia. Oh, we lost quite a few people. We're now 66 people. So here's that bounce. Let's go check this out. What do we got? German 30. Got a German 30 alert. This trend line I want to get rid of. Didn't end up working out. Yeah, don't enter trades on indices if you haven't played around with them very much, because they do move very, very, very fast. And you need a pretty substantial account, right? A pretty substantial account size. Here's that. There was a hook here. It didn't go all the way down, so, but we'll see. This looks like a better trend line, but forget this trend line. I don't like. Yeah. Here's that AIRO moving average again. See if we can get out of this mess. See if I can get out of my mess. German 30. Let's go see. Let's close this down. German 30. Not on that time frame. On the 15. Yeah, I don't know. This looks more like the W. This, it's higher. That's crazy. Got lots of alerts right now. What was this? 3 o'clock hour. See if we can get out of here without hurting myself too much. We were under the AIRO moving average. See the bounce on the zone. If we get an AIRO, then I'm gonna increase my position and then I'll take it to the zone. Because this would work as a bounce. Let's see this. That looks like a pretty good break. This is the bounce on that bottom there. Yeah. So here we had a bounce on the Bollinger Band, bounce on the trend line, break of this trend line. I had to adjust it a couple times, as you've seen. Now we're above the AIRO moving average. I did put in another position at about here so that I can cost average it out and walk away. So as soon as it gets to a place where I can safely exit both of my trades, then I will. So my exit point is once RSI reaches the top. That's how I'm going to manage this trade. Once this RSI reaches the top, like it did here, that's when I'm out. So you see the little wick here. It's got a little bit of gas to the top side. So for the fun of it, let's do it this way. This could be the target, right? But I'm not going to wait that high. I'm just going to take it once I break even. The high probability is that it's going to reach that that red zone, that bounce zone over here. So if you're watching everything, you'll see. So a couple more pips. Come on, man. Get up there. All I need is probably another. Nope. Not on that one. I don't like that cross of the stochastic. But it happens here too, right? It's not all the way to the top. You see here, your R is at the top. What do we got? EG. This might be then the last push that we need. Don't know if you hear my little guy upstairs laughing his head off. All right, another little push. Really doesn't like that point there. Oh no, Danielle. Did your the thing is once we win a really good trade, you need to walk away for a little bit, reset your head. That's what I do, is because you can continue and you can overtrade and not look at things the right way. This is really painful, especially on a live call. It's not so bad if I just do it on my own. But yeah, Danielle, absolutely. And it helps a lot if you observe in demo. You know what? If you're learning, don't learn with live money. There's a lot of reasons for that. Not just because you're trying to, what's the proper word? You're learning a skill set, right? You're learning a skill set. It's going to take some time. It takes a while to get to a point where you have some kind of consistency. And oh, come on, one more push, man. That was almost break even. I should have exited. Three. And that's break even. Boom. All right. Out of all those trades, that's the last trading I'm doing for today. That kind of sucked, just being honest. This morning we took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I actually took 9 trades, so I've had enough trades, and my brain is not is not functioning very well at this point. So you see how I exited right here once I had the wick. I just wanted break even, you know. So that is that. I had a couple positions to make it that way. And whatever happens in the future, it doesn't matter to me now because I'm out. But if you did take that trade, I will officially apologize because it wasn't an AIRO trade setup, AIRO bag setup, or whatnot. Yeah, Danielle, you and everyone else, so your brain works a specific way. It's not the way that we think it works. It's interesting. We have a sense of, the sense of loss is greater than the sense of gain. Like there's I forget the psychological term, and there's probably some really smart people in the group chat that'll be able to tell me what that psychological term is, but it's like the fear of loss is so great that the fear of gain, the rewards of gain just outnumber it, even though you're not going to be able to be consistent in trading unless you're willing to lose. And you got to be willing to lose. You got to know your win rate, and you got to understand your risk in the trade. So with NAS 100 gone, I'm going to look at some other things and see if we can see if I got the chat open here. Sean. Linade. Yeah. We were in a couple trades. Emotions got the best of me on that one. Not any AIRO bag trade setups, but CAD Swiss was out of the bag. You know, we had that big Bank of Canada announcement. Look at that wick. You don't want to be touching that. Why? Because look, this is all the wicks on the 15-minute prior to. Okay. And then boom. This is not tradable. You might want to look for a pullback though, right? You look for the retracement off this big move because, as we know, it's going to retrace 23.6, 38.2 of this full move. It needs to come back for it to continue up in that direction or whatnot. So that's what don't try and chase this, right? Look how significant this is. Like, who cares? Forget it. Forget about what you didn't make. Just worry about the next trade setup. Yeah, if you're trading $60 on an indices, you're going to get your butt smoked. It's too small. A great book to help you with your mindset is The Compound Effect, and another one's called The Slight Edge by Darren Hardy. It's just amazing. Just absolutely amazing. Amazing books that help you understand that you're in it for the long haul, right? You're not looking for short-term gain. You're looking for long-term consistency. You know, you're not looking to hit the ball out of the park the first week you're trading, right? Don't think that you need to get a grand slam and hit a home run. Just bunt the ball. Just get a little bit and get your consistency. Learn how to hit the ball first, right? If you never hit a baseball, don't go expecting great things. We have the best tools out there, okay? Like you saw, AIRO. We can make some really special things happen with AIRO, but you don't want to be setting unrealistic expectations, because that's going to hurt you. 5 years ago when I started trading, my expectations were so unrealistic, it's not even funny. I'm not a silly person by nature, you know. I have a pretty respectable job and whatnot. So everyone said, yeah, you'll be able to crush this and make $100,000 replace your annual income in 6 months, right? It's not realistic. Doesn't matter what kind of person you are. 6 months to replace your income. If someone says that to you, you need to look at them and say, hey, were you able to do it? Find me someone who can replace their income in 6 months trading, and then we'll talk. But what you're looking for is consistency. You're looking to add, learn a new skill. And this is the least expensive way that you can learn to trade. There's nowhere where you can get this value with a system that paints and does a lot of the analysis for you. Okay, it does a lot of the analysis for you. Here's UK. See, you're in a down. Here, you don't need to learn a whole lot, right? You're looking for the trend. You're in the uptrend. You're looking for a down arrow. You're not going to take this. That's basically 90% of it. XRP. What do we got? XRP buy on the 15. Boom. Let's go check. What's the trend? I think it's downtrend. Yeah, we're in a long downtrend. I've been making some pretty good gains on XRP. But check this out. So I would not be taking this because this is counter trend, right? And then you got a bounce and you got an arrow. Now, if you're more advanced, you can take a portion of this, but overall, it still has some zones to break through. So got a great question in here. What do you think of Aussie yen? Well, let's go see. Aussie yen. Did you take the trade? Did you take it on a 15? If you did, great. You know, Aussie yen, I don't see a problem. She looks good, right? Overall, lots of room here, right? Lots of room between this zone and this zone. So if I go back to 15, I zoom all the way out, I see nothing. So let's go here, bring this up. What do we got? Let's see. Let's go take a quick look, see if we actually got a bounce, right? We got a bounce in the zone, arrow, and go. So 20 pips looks pretty good. I would probably consider not taking it beyond here because you're probably going to get some trouble, even though there's no zone here. So if someone wanted to take it from here to there, that could be their prerogative. I am actually going to have to shut down this this call at 11:30 instead of 12. I've got some prior engagements that I can't get out of. So I'm going to have to apologize for that in advance. But I hope some people got some value out of today, that I was able to maybe glean a couple things or learn a couple lessons, or see how you can get out of bad trades. You know, that's why you never over leverage your account. If I over leveraged my account on my position on NAS 100, there's no way I could have got out of that, because the margin requirements on NAS 100 are very, very stringent. For example, right now on my account, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. I've got about I've got 6 trades in Ripple right now, and I got 2 in US Swiss. And for all of that, one position in NAS 100 took the same amount of margin as all those positions. Just one position. And because I needed to take 2 more at a lower entry to cost average myself out of a bad trade, then that means that my account can't be $1,000, because you're going to get margined out. Because it generally takes, it depends on your broker and what your leverage is, but I think for mine it's something like $100 and some in free margin for 0.01. Could be wrong though. I don't really look at it that way too much. Furthermore, is there any other questions that we can deal with? Because I'm officially done trading for the day. But do you guys have any specific questions? Anything that you want me to cover or talk about? And if not, well, one of the things we can do is you can send me a message in Telegram, and I can share some of the things I do for indices and gold.
Matt, there was a question earlier about your Fibonacci levels on TradingView. It's basically the same Fibonacci levels as we use on the MT4.
Yeah.
The standard Fibonacci's of 38.2, 50, at 61.8 are the 3 major levels that we want to be looking at.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're going to want to make sure that you just keep things basic. We don't want to overcomplicate things, right, Al?
Yeah.
Because we can make this really complicated if we wanted to. Can make it really complicated. What is a fractal high? Well, a fractal high. So a fractal is, that's a great question. So if I go and add fractals, if you want to add fractals, it's an indicator, Bill Williams. Fractals. So it's a 5 candle formation. You're going to see them on the chart when I populate them. So it's only a confirmed fractal once the 2 last candles have formed. So for example, if I wanted to show you this fractal high, okay? So here's the start of the fractal. Think of it as your 5 fingers on your hand, and this is your middle finger. Well, your middle finger is generally, in the vast majority of humans, is going to be your longest finger. It's going to peek out of the top. Well, that's what it is. The only way that you're going to have a fractal high, though, is if these other 2 candles after it are lower than this one. So this one has to be lower, this one has to be lower, this one has to be lower, and this one has to be lower. This is a confirmed fractal high. See here, fractal high, it needs this one to be lower, this one, and this one. So they're actually pretty good. It's good stuff. I love fractals. Love fractals. So let's go check this out real quick. I'll show you a fractal low. So here, higher, higher, lower, higher, higher. So this is your fractal low. This is the same thing. So that's all fractal is. Oh, Don, great question. So I mentioned it a little bit earlier. You may have missed it. Open up 2 dashboards. And the way that you can help yourself by potentially not closing your dashboard down is by having it on the monthly chart. It helps me because I know I don't trade on the monthly chart. So I'm not going to close down this chart. So for example, if I open this up and I see 15-minute, I'm like, okay, no problem. I can close this, but I'm not closing my monthly chart because I know it's just another little confirmation to make sure that I don't have to reload the charts. Now, if you do want to see more than the pairs, you can't scroll down in here. You actually have to have 2 arrows open. So on the right, you'll see I have all of my currency pairs set up, my Forex pairs. And then on the left, you have gold, indices, and cryptos. And that's how I set it up. So you just have to set up 2 separate ones. And the setup instructions are pretty simple. But 2 things, a couple things to make sure. If you are using anything except the Forex pairs, you need to use own pair list, and you need to let it coincide with what your broker calls it. So say US 30 is written some different way, US 30 plus or whatever from your broker, you need to put US 30 plus in here in own pairs. Or if it's S&P 500 and it's US 500 on your broker, you need to put that there. XRP's climbing actually pretty significantly. It's a $40. So anyway, just on the side note. And then when you're in here, just make sure that if you want your alerts to put true, alert sound true. You don't need an email. Alert notification true. That's going to give you your alerts. And then template for new chart. If you're clicking on the charts and it doesn't open up, and it opens up with a blank chart, that means that you're missing this. It's actually listed as default by default. You need to change it to AIRO in all caps. And then the last thing I do is I take for the ADR, instead of 5, I use 10. So I use the last 10 days for the average daily range, which is here. Some people may not find it useful. There is a use to it specifically, because if you look 35 out of 40, so it's moved 35 pips out of the 40 that it usually moves in that day. Here, Euro CAD, guess what? CAD went through the moon. It's moved 202 pips out of 92 pips, which is usually what it moves. So this could give you an indication if there's still some room. Swiss yen hasn't moved very much. It didn't meet its goal yet. The pound Swiss hasn't met its goal yet of 98 pips. So I hope that answers everything. Perfect. Sandy, that's great. I like what you did. You had the London session, the New York session, and the 6 pairs for the Asian breakout. So if there's not anything else that we can answer or go over, I just want to give a good shout out to Nate for making this thing so amazing, for my trading partner, Al Mittman, for coming on and being a great input and support for me, and to this community that we've been working with and growing. Thank you for taking time out of your day. We really appreciate you, and hope you have the most wonderful trading day going forward. And as one of my mentors would say, persist without exception, no matter what, do whatever it takes to learn to trade. Okay? Persist without exception, no matter what.
Thanks, Matt.
All right, guys. We'll talk to you later. Bye, guys.
Thanks, everybody.